What's going on, guys? My name is Matt Wacek and welcome back to the channel. So today I want to share with you a very expensive lesson I had learned in my first business, and this was going back about 4 to 5 years ago with my landscaping company. So yes, this video is not going to be related to pay-per-call affiliate marketing or digital marketing agency stuff, but the concepts that I'm going to cover here still pertain to anyone who is doing some type of online marketing, because what I had learned the hard way, and there were some things that I had messed up and was really short-sighted with that I'll cover here in a minute. So hopefully you can take some lessons from this and from my very expensive lessons that I had made with my landscape business and put it to use in your business, so that way you are more informed, you're more aware, and you're not as short-sighted as I was. So now let's go back in time and let me explain what the title of the whole video means. So basically in early 2013, so yes, this is 5.5 years ago. This is a long time ago. Actually, what I had done with my business, and I had just come off a pretty successful year in 2012, and I was ramping up doing advertising in the spring of 2013. So I decided, in addition to having my website, let's do this new program called EDDM, which is called Every Door Direct Mail, which was created by the US Postal Service. You basically create postcards, or you have a designer create them, print them, and they have to be specific dimensions, this and that, and you have to have specific mailing things on there like this. But compared to other direct mail campaigns, you were able to literally just select a route for where you want the stuff to get sent. You bring that amount of postcards to that office, and then they send them out like the next day. So it was something that's really quick. You didn't have to buy a permit or any of that stuff that goes along with direct mail, how it used to be anyways. So I had spent a good chunk of change getting thousands of these postcards made, and this is actually, these pictures are actually from one of the first digital products I'd ever created, which was back in 2015. A digital book on how to start a landscaping business, and I showed examples of my advertising in it. This was the front side of the design for the postcard, and then this was the back side. One was about lawn care and landscaping maintenance, and trying to get people onto a program where they will basically pay between $200 to $300 per month for 7 to 8 months, depending on what services exactly they had wanted. And then this one was about basically doing landscaping on people's homes, so making their houses look good with something that could be as extravagant as this, with a big fireplace and patio and sitting walls and all that sort of stuff, all the way down to just doing mulch. So I had these designed by a professional designer that specialized in creating these types of things for lawn care businesses. So once they arrived in the mail after the printing and shipping process, I needed to get them distributed. And so the cost for the postage for about 5,000 of these was around 17 cents for each one that got sent out. So 5,000 times 17 cents per piece. So $850 just to get them sent out to the houses. And so the design price for this was $150. And so we'll add that to the $425 for the printing, and then I believe it was $150 for the shipping. So $725 plus $850. So almost $1,600 out of pocket before anything is made, and you don't even have any data yet. This is why direct mail is just not on the same level as online marketing, because you can test for $70 and have it be seen by tons of people and see if it's working or not. So this was a decent sized investment, plus the amount of time that it took to put into it. You got to figure out the design, what you do like, what you don't like, and also finding a designer and then waiting for them to get shipped, all that sort of stuff. But so how I was able to actually get a good return on this investment was once the snow had melted initially in April, we sent out a batch. Now right away I was really mad, because I had ended up getting like 3 phone calls. 2 of them were for just fertilizing and weed control, which is a very low ticket service. And when I had spent $1,600, I was already mad, because those 2 clients would have maxed out at like $1,000 a year combined. So after I had spent $1,600 with essentially nothing in return, and then I get the phone call from this customer who was a younger family, and I went and measured at their property and whatnot, and it was kind of hard to tell whether or not they had the budget for it. The project was about $7,000, what the total amount was. The margin on it was very low because I failed to do my due diligence. This was my first time using this particular brand of product. And it was about 50% more expensive than the other product that we used with the pavers and retaining wall block and that sort of stuff. I did not make very much money on the project. I want to say it was about $500 profit for 3-4 days of work, and it was a very complex project using a different shaped paver, and I'm not going to get way in depth with building patios in this because that's not what this channel is about. But it took forever and it was a major pain in the ass to build this project. And I was also really freaking mad at the time because I had made no money and just busted my butt for 3 days with paying the guys to work for me and equipment expenses and delivery and all the product expenses. I had to take a trip to the supplier, which was like an hour away. And so basically everything that could have gone wrong with this project did. The cost for the actual product was expensive. The amount of time it took was a lot longer than expected, so labor was higher. We actually ended up breaking part of the sprinkler system underground. Now this was a really easy fix, but it still cost me money to repair it and time also. So to say I was mad was an understatement after this was done. I mean, I was still happy that the whole project was completed when it was done because it looked amazing. I was able to take a ton of pictures with this, use it in my advertising, and the clients were extremely happy with it. They were absolutely thrilled with this project and being able to finally have an outdoor space where they could have fires. Now, after the project was complete, I did not get any more phone calls from any of these postcards that had gone out. I was in the red about essentially $1,100. So you have that $1,600 investment less that $500 profit that the job generated, and that's what we're left with. And that's not the only advertising that we did. That was just the numbers from this particular campaign. I still had SEO running on my site, and that was generating the vast majority of the new customers coming in, as well as referrals. So as a young entrepreneur at 22 years old at this point in time, midsummer, July, this project was all wrapped up. Then I was mad for a little while that I didn't make very much money from this particular ad campaign after putting a lot of time and thought and planning and everything into it. And I was essentially still down $1,100 after that $500 profit off this entire job. And that absolutely sucked. And so about a year later, and yes, this is a whole calendar year, there were lots and lots of other projects that we did, lots of referrals coming in as well. And that's exactly what happened from this client here. So here is where the short-sightedness had really started to change. I get a phone call from someone who got their information from these guys here. And keep in mind, we're still running very much so in the red, at least as far as that campaign goes, the direct mail. I get a phone call from a guy who was interested in a patio at his house. He had saw this patio. He was friends with these people. So he goes there, he looks at the work and says, wow, who did this? This looks amazing. And then they give him my information. So boom, there's a referral. This guy had a budget of like $5,000 to $6,000 for a patio. So I go to the property and take a look at it. Here's what they wanted to do. Basically take this area. So they wanted a patio built all around that and somewhere that they can hang out. We sent them the proposal, they said yes. Then about 4 weeks later, we receive the deposit payment, we start the project, and we get underway. And then we end up encountering a massive tree stump right in the middle of the excavation site for the patio. So in my contract, because has happened with other projects in years past, where if we encounter something that we had no control, there's no way of knowing about this because this was buried like 6 inches underneath the ground, that it's the client's responsibility to pay for this to get removed. So we had to pay for stump grinding for it to get totally removed because you can't build a patio on top of that. Eventually this wood's going to rot and the patio would sink. And so after that little hiccup, we ended up creating the patio. It might be kind of hard to tell in this picture, especially if you're watching this on your phone, but here was the completed patio in this angle, and then here's one from the outside. So this project was about $6,000. We did it in 2 days after all of the expenses paid, labor, equipment, and fuel, product to install, all that sort of stuff. My net from that was about $2,500 in 2 days. I was happy. I was extremely happy. I was able to finally recoup all of the costs put into that advertising campaign and essentially profit from that. We're up about $1,400 and we have 2 extremely satisfied clients that were very happy with our work. Here's where things get even more interesting. So there was a neighbor from this property just up the street who saw us coming in and out and moving material, all that sort of stuff. And he came over and talked to me as we were on the job site, asking some questions. And then about a week after this job was completed, we went and took a look at his property and he wanted a retaining wall and a few other things. So we put together a proposal. He says yes. So this was about 4 weeks after this was completed. We were working on this project here. It took a little longer than expected. However, we got the job done and we had a decent margin on the project. And so after this one was completed, we had a grand total of about $16,800 roughly in revenue generated just off of a $1,600 ad spend. So the total profit margin on that, with that first job being basically nothing, kind of threw off things a little bit, but the net on that was right around maybe $4,500. So all in all, it started off very, very rough in the beginning, mostly because of some bonehead moves on my part with not pricing that project properly. However, who knows if I would have priced it higher for the product that it actually was with. Had I priced it that much higher because the materials were so much higher, because I would not have gotten this, which would not have led to getting this one, and then would not have led to getting this one. It really had gone from something that was a really negative experience to something that became a very, very positive experience. I did not have to pay any money to acquire either of these clients. In fact, I made money off of this job, and granted it was a very small amount, but I made money off of that and then was able to not only make money, but I got more customers out of the deal and essentially higher profits from these back-end sales that had come in after the fact. So anyways, I know a lot different than most of my other videos. This was a really big shift in my life and in my business career, and what really gave me the awareness to look at things and realize that, hey, this is not a 1 month and it's done type of thing. When you're advertising, it's a long-term game, and hey, that 1 month that you're spending big on AdWords, you may break even or you may even lose money, but you got to look at it at a 6-month duration and see where you're at. That's really the lesson to take away from this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this type of content. If you did, be sure to go down below, smash that like button. Also, if you have any questions or any suggestions for future videos, be sure to leave a comment down below. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, be sure to go down below, smash that subscribe button, and hit the bell for notifications so that way you know when the newest content comes live. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. My name is Matt Wacek, and I will see you in the next video.